Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It was an okay episode, but before I get into my review, if you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. I summarize and review the latest Sensual Kapımı episodes, say what I like, what I didn't like, what I think might happen next. If you like these kinds of videos, like, comment, share, but most importantly, subscribe so we can meet on a weekly basis. This episode focused more on the storyline between Eda, Serkan, Celine and Dennis, and the other ones were kind of left out. But as always, let's talk about the side storylines before we dive into the Eda and Serkan storyline. So first we have Ferit and Ceren. They were pretty much non-existent in this episode. The only thing that I really noticed was when Ferit gave Ceren a package. It's kind of like him trying to be nice to her, to be friends with her. But before he gives her that, he goes to her because the big project they had going on, it was cancelled, and because she's the lawyer of the company, she has to look at the clauses and what they can do, blah blah blah, because at first she thinks that he's coming to talk to her just because, but he's like, we're working together, so I have to ask you something about business. It's nothing personal. And then she's like, okay, no problem. So she's civil with him, and then when he walks away without really acknowledging her, her look is kind of like, please don't go. She still has feelings for him, and I do think that she feels bad because I presume that she's taking her pills again. So the second time around, he gives her this package, and in this package is an invitation or voucher for a workshop of a shoe designer, because back in the day she really wanted to design the shoes and it was kind of her thing and her passion. And he actually watches her getting excited and being really happy, and he's happy because he sees her happy. And then when he goes to her and asks her about the package, she's like, oh no, I threw it away. And then she's kind of like, well, those are dreams and not goals, blah blah blah. And then he's like, why don't you make your goal your dream? And I thought it was quite nice because she kind of lost focus of who she really is, and I do think that he will help her get her back on track. There was also this moment where Ceren was very angry and standoffish towards Eda and kind of shooting daggers at her, because when Eda was kind of leading Serkan on because she already solved the problem but wanted to make him wait, Ceren was like, why are you doing this? Because every time you do something you never think about the other people. So she was including herself, and Eda was like, what the hell are you talking about? But then Serkan called her, but I'm going to talk about that later. So I don't know if there's going to be a discussion between Eda and Ceren. I really would like that, for them to solve their problem, because it's really frustrating to see them like that, not communicating. As I already said in my previous reviews, I do understand Ceren where she's coming from. Then we have Engin and Pırıl, also pretty much a no-show. The only thing that Engin did was kind of spread the news around about those new rules, and also helping Serkan cover up the fact that he went back to the office when Eda had a problem. Pırıl thought that he wants to kind of hide the fact that Serkan has a surprise party planned for Celine, because the next day was Celine's birthday. So she tells Celine, Celine gets all excited, blah blah blah, and that was pretty much it with Engin and Pırıl. Then we also have Aydan and Ayfer and Chef Alexander, their triangle. So Ayfer comes back from the holiday with Alex, and they're having a fight because Alex focused more on other people and didn't pay that much attention to her. And then he meets up with a young woman. Seyfi sees that, so Seyfi goes back to Aydan, tells her that it's not going pretty well between Ayfer and Chef Alexander. So she takes the moment and kind of lures him in, and being the Italian guy, he falls in her trap, and then it's kind of this triangle. So Chef Alexander is meeting Ayfer and Aydan at the same time. So when he's with Ayfer, Aydan is calling him, but he hangs up on her. But as soon as he leaves Ayfer, he calls Aydan to go meet up with her. Then when he's at her place, Ayfer comes, wants to talk about the Eda and Serkan situation. Chef Alexander is hiding behind the sofa, and it's just really ridiculous, this whole storyline. So his phone rings, Ayfer is confused, where is this ringing coming from? Seyfi covers it up. Anyways, in the evening, Chef Alexander invites both of them, I believe, and then Ayfer and Aydan are at the entrance and they see each other, what is happening, but then they see Chef Alexander talking to this young lady and having dinner with her, and then they kind of go after him. Aydan smashes a bottle of something over his head. One thing I noticed, where was the liquid of this bottle? Like, it was empty apparently. Anyways, then Ayfer can't find the pulse. They think they killed him. They drag him to a toilet and then they go out. Then they're scared. They go back inside and Chef Alexander is gone. We then also have this moment where Ayfer is confronting Eda and Melek about this wedding invitation thing, and Eda is saying, well, she just wants to make Serkan jealous, and Ayfer is like, I get it, but you just crossed the line and I'll give you 1 more week to solve this problem, otherwise I'm going to end it. So I do think that this 1 more week is for us to know that it will take 1 more week for Serkan to get back his memory. So I do think that towards the end of the episode of next week, so episode 33, Serkan will have his memory back. So yeah, I do think that's all, and we can move on to the Eda and Serkan storyline. So the episode starts with Serkan sleeping in the office with the wedding invitation on his chest. Celine comes in and is really frustrated, so she calls Dennis to meet up with him to come up with a plan. So she says that Dennis has to start a job at the office to be near Eda at all times. So she is trying to keep Serkan away from Eda, and Dennis should try to keep Eda away from Serkan. Eda, on the other hand, is also sleeping with the wedding invitation next to her, and when she wakes up, at first she's confused what that is until she realizes what she's done. So then she goes to Dennis's shop, but Celine is there, so Celine hides and Eda is losing it. What did we do? This was not part of the plan, blah blah blah. But he's trying to convince her that he saw the jealousy in Serkan's eyes. So in that moment I really believed him, because there was this back and forth for my feelings for him, because one time I hate him because he's team Celine and really trying to keep Eda away from Serkan, but on the other side he's also helping Eda be close to Serkan and make Serkan jealous. Like, I don't get this character. I really do hope that he will stay positive and stay a good guy and not go towards the dark side with Celine. Celine also admits to Dennis that she sees that there is a connection between Serkan and Eda, and that's why she wants to keep them separated, for the connection not to grow stronger between them. Then we have the scene where Serkan finds out about the cancellation of this big project. Eda is really calm, being like, well, we have to call them and try to explain the situation and try to find a common ground, so maybe we will get the project back. Serkan is being the old guy, being like, no, I'm not doing this, it's cancelled, blah blah blah. So in the end, Eda calls the company, solves the problem, and the boss, or whoever that man was, agrees for them to hold this presentation. And Serkan is really amazed, because at first, as I already said, she was leading him on, trying to make it as painful as possible for him, and she's drinking coffee with Melek. So he calls her to tell him the news. She's like, if it's that urgent, you can come to me. So he comes, asks her, she tells him that everything is solved and he should thank her for that. He is really funny, because he thanks her really quickly and he's like, thank you Eda Yildiz, or something like that, like really fast, and she's like, oh, I didn't quite get that. So he thanks her slowly, and it was just hilarious. There were a few moments between them where I laughed out loud, because it was awkward but funny at the same time. And then Dennis comes, so Serkan is really frustrated, goes to Engin, vents and says, look at those people, they're all folding paper planes, throwing them around, what is this company, blah blah blah. But the one thing that annoys him the most is Eda and Dennis being there together, and from him complaining about his staff not really concentrating and doing their work, he says he doesn't like to see them together and that he can't accept their love. And I was like, oh my god, where did we start, where did we end up? Like, it was just so hilarious. And that's when he comes up with those new rules that Engin is enforcing, telling Agdem to put them all over the company. That's when Eda gets this sheet where it says that love is forbidden at the workplace. So she goes to Serkan Serkan is like, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous. And he's like, well, I'm the boss, I can do whatever I want. Eda is like, people are not your property, you can't do this. Maybe you just don't like it when people fall in love. And he's like, oh, I do have a girlfriend, so don't talk to me about love. So you can really see him being like a little child, being caught but trying to downplay it. It was just hilarious to watch. And then he tells her, you're not in my past, you're not in my future, we're just partners, and that's the only connection we have as work colleagues and partners. And I was like, oh my god. And then Eda gets so upset that she wants to go away, but he kind of senses that he did something wrong, so he tries to stop her, but she's like, don't touch me. And then he has this flashback that I already mentioned in my previous review from the trailer, and he remembers their naughty time where he told her that nobody is allowed to touch her except for him. And she hears that he's reciting this, and she's like, oh my god, he remembers. But he's really confused, like, where is this coming from? What is this flashback? Then we have this montage with Serkan and Eda. So Serkan is at the office trying to concentrate and work. Eda is trying to read a book and concentrate, but both of them are thinking about the other person. Then Serkan goes to the cafe where both of them went, and Celine saw them together. I don't really remember what episode it was in. I do think it was kind of at the beginning of their relationship where they were trying to hide it or something like that. I'm sorry if I remember it wrongly, but anyways, he goes there. The waiter says, welcome back, Serkan Bey, please sit at your table. So he's really confused, like, how do they know him and does he really have a table? And then Eda comes and he tells her and confides in her that he's really confused because he feels at home here, he feels at peace in this restaurant, in this cafe, and he doesn't really understand how do people know him, and he also has a table here. Then Eda is remembering their time together there and is pretty upset because he can't remember it. Then the next day Eda brings him coffee from that place and he thanks her and he's really happy. Then Celine comes also with coffee, sees that Eda already brought him coffee and she's not liking it at all. Celine and Serkan are kind of lovey-dovey and being really happy and cute together. Eda doesn't like that. Eda is reminding Serkan about the new rule that love is forbidden, and then Serkan is like, well, I'm so in love, I'm so over the moon, let's forget about this rule. Then we have this conversation where Serkan is like, oh, this coffee is way better than Dennis's coffee, so please tell him that. And then Eda is like, well, he delivers the coffee to that shop because he's a barista. And Serkan's reactions were amazing. I loved it so much. Then Serkan is really stressed because the man, so with the huge project that got cancelled, is on his way. He doesn't like it to be untidy, so he tells Eda to collect all those documents and tidy up a little bit. She drops something, both of them go down to pick it up, then they kiss. I mean, Celine sees that, knocks on the door and looks at Serkan being like, what the hell are you doing? Then the man comes and Serkan apologizes for the mess. He says, no, it just shows that people are working. And then I didn't quite catch that, I'm really sorry, but somehow the man invited all of them to his hotel or something like that. And his hotel appears to be the cottages where Celine, Serkan, Eda and Dennis were already at. Then Eda has her presentation saved and sent to the main computers. In the evening, Celine goes back to the company, deletes all the files that Eda needed for the presentation. The next day, Eda is panicking because she can't find the files because Layla told her that she didn't save them. Eda is like, yes, I did. Wants to show Layla that she did, but she can't find the files. Melek finds out from Eda that she was having technical problems, so Eda calls the big boss telling him that she's apologizing. Maybe they can postpone the presentation because they have some technical issues. Serkan hears about it, calls Layla. Layla explains the situation to him. He tells Engin, don't tell anyone, I'm going to solve the problem and help Eda. So they're both working together. He even brought coffee from their coffee shop and then they start working together. He puts a strand of hair behind her ear and they're working quite closely, even drawing with one pen. Really adorable. Then Eda has the presentation. The man is really amazed by quiet, likes everything. And then both of them go back to the other people at the cottages, and on their way back, because Eda was so exhausted, she fell asleep on his shoulder, and he seemed to like that. Celine didn't like it one bit when she saw that Eda and Serkan were appearing together. She even questioned Serkan, like, where were you, blah blah blah. She got really mad at him, and he's like, I'm not the guy who explains everything to everybody, like, you should know this. And she's like, yes, but I'm not letting you treat me like that, blah blah blah, and then just storms off. Then we have the scene where Serkan and Dennis are on the porch. Eda comes out, talks to Dennis, wants to go on a walk with him, but he's like, no, do something else. So I don't really remember what he said exactly, but anyways, Eda sees Celine coming out. Celine tells Serkan, let's go for a walk. He's like, no, it's snowing way too much. Eda tells Dennis, let's go inside, have some time together, be all romantic by the fire. Serkan doesn't like that, knocks on their door, tries to find a reason why he needs to be with Eda, to work or something, and she's like, oh, I'll solve this problem, blah blah blah, don't worry about it. So he's really annoyed, going back because Celine told him to help her with putting on her necklace or something like that. So when Eda goes back outside and knocks on Serkan's door, she asks him if he has some blueprints for the harbor project or something like that, and he's like, no, it's your project, you should have them. And then it's like this really awkward back and forth, and you can hear Celine in the background calling for him, and he's like, my darling or my something, calling her like that. And Eda is like, since when are you saying that? Well, because I'm in love, blah blah blah. So it was really awkward. Then we have the chat between Celine and Dennis, where Celine is really upset that Serkan didn't remember her birthday, and then everybody is coming. Celine is trying to hint at Serkan, like, isn't today a special day? And he's like, no. And then he also sees Eda and Dennis being all cute, him trying to warm up her hands, and he's side-eyeing them and doesn't like it at all what he sees. Then when he says no, he doesn't remember anything special, Celine just storms off. He wants to go after Celine. Dennis goes after Serkan, stops him, and tells him that Celine is upset because she thought that Serkan had something prepared for her because it was her birthday. So then we see Serkan really had something prepared for Celine. Both of them come arm in arm, really cute, really adorable, really lovey-dovey, all smiling at each other, and Eda can't really stand looking at them, so she just walks off. When she's outside wandering off, she loses her necklace. Then she's trying to find it in darkness, and I was like, how stupid can you be? Like, how can you see something? I can barely see you. Like, how can you see and find the necklace in the snow? Anyways, Melek is searching for Eda. She can't reach her, so when the cake comes out and Celine is about to blow out the candles, Melek storms in, tells everybody that she can't reach Eda and that she couldn't find her. Serkan is telling Celine, I will look for Eda and I'll be back. Celine loses it, like she's destroying the whole room. Eda gets lost in the woods. Serkan is searching for her. He finds her necklace. He then finds her in the end. She fell somehow because she sprained her ankle or something. He carries her to a hut that they find. He has a little bit of service, so he calls Engin and tells him that he's with Eda in this hut. Dennis hears that, goes to tell Celine. Celine is losing it and blaming Dennis because it's all his fault because he couldn't keep Eda away from Serkan or something like that. And then they end up kissing, and I was like, where did that come from? Like, I didn't see that, but I like the way it's going, because that way I do think that Dennis and Celine will end up together, and I'm all here for it. As long as Serkan and Eda will end up together, Dennis can have Celine all he wants. Then we have Serkan and Eda in this hut, him trying to help her, them having this conversation, and her being like, well, if every pain could be like this, then he feels mocked by her because he lost his memory, blah blah blah. Then there's this back and forth. Then once again Serkan hears this voice, nobody can touch you except for me, and he's even more confused, like, what does this mean? And she knows it and she says it just like he heard it. And then Serkan is asking her, did they always have these disagreements? Because how could they have these disagreements and have such a big love story at the same time? Like, it didn't make sense for him. And then she told him that they understood each other just by looking at each other, and they were always doing the same same things, like they were complementing each other, her doing one thing and him doing the same, like they were in sync with each other. For her, that's what love means and attachment, and whatever happens, you don't give up on each other. And then Serkan is telling her, but you're giving up on me now, and Eda is confirming it, being like, yes, because you now have Celine and I do have Dennis. Eda wants to go. Serkan stops her, tells her, I know you're still mad at me because I forgot you. And then Eda is telling him, I'm not mad at you, because when you lose something, only then you know how much you loved it and cherished it, and also when you're rejected by it. Then it gets too much for Serkan. He goes by the fire. She starts falling asleep. He goes back to her, puts a blanket on her. She sleeps on him. Celine and Dennis are on their way looking for both of them, and then when Celine comes in, she sees them both sleeping on each other, being all cuddled up, and that's the end. The trailer that we got, I don't think that we can name it a trailer. It's more like a scene, and it's Eda making some terrariums. She's actually talking to Sirius, and he comes and they're having this conversation about him not remembering being a robot, being stone cold. He offers his help to make those terrariums, and what is happening, Celine is watching them, and that's all we got to see. So not really much. I do think that Serkan will regain his memory. Celine will get more and more obsessed. I'm not sure what will happen after Celine found them. I do think that Dennis will get her away, or maybe she will call for Serkan and tell them, well, we found you to get you out of here, kind of. That could be a possibility. But I really do hope that Dennis will stay a positive person, a positive character, and not move to the dark side. I'm interested to see what will Aydan and Ayfer do with Chef Alexander. Will he regain Ayfer's trust? I don't know. But other than that, I can't really say much because we didn't really get a proper trailer. So yeah, that's all I can come up with. And yeah, that's all. I hope I said everything. I hope I mentioned everything. If I forgot anything, I'm really sorry. If you still like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this episode. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring that bell to be notified whenever I post something, and I will see you next time. Bye!